Welcome back as we continue on. GLIAC season upon us here for 25-26 as we move into the first weekend of December with a pair of games at the Goodman Center, and joined now by Roosevelt University men's basketball coach Dee Brown. And Coach, GLIAC season coming up, but looking back first, winding up at least your first portion of the non-conference games this season, 10-point loss at Northwood. How did you see that game in retrospect?
We took some steps towards getting better. We got some guys still out with injuries, but I thought coming in, we played really good offensively. We just, got dominated on the glass. We gave up 20 offensive rebounds, which allowed them to get easy putbacks and allow us to, spend 50 seconds on defense. But I just thought we made major steps as far as with our growth and our togetherness and guys playing, better basketball.
Looking back at the game, I thought it was a pretty interesting game. Wound up calling it remotely due to the weather that everybody had to deal with over the weekend. And tight ball game fairly for most of the first half. And then in the second half, looked like the team got a little bit cold. And while the game didn't get away from the team, they just weren't able to make that run. They had a little bit of a momentum late, but it came up a little bit too late. Is that how you kind of saw the game as it played out?
Yeah, I mean, like I said, they really dominated us on the glass. That was a major thing we took from it. Our rotation, playing 7 guys, we kind of burnt out a little bit at the end, but it was a good game. We was down 3 with last 4-minute war that we had, so it was really competitive game down the stretch. Just couldn't pull it out. Northwood is going to be a really good team, really good test for us going on the road, playing against teams that like that, because that's what we'll see once GLIAC league play starts.
You mentioned a couple of times now the rebounding. Do you feel that was one of the keys to the result of the game in the end?
Absolutely. When you get dominated on glass like that, it's tough to get your defense to play 50 seconds each time when you're giving up second chance opportunities. So the 20 offensive rebounds did play huge key for us, is us not being able to get the basketball and after the first attempt. And you just gotta we got to continue to work on and group rebound. But I think down the stretch, that's what we lacked. That it was lack of rebounding.
Talking about the rebounding, and it's interesting just from a basketball standpoint in the sense that you have, it seems like a million rebound attempts in the game, in any given game, but every one seems to be so important because every rebound you get provides the team an opportunity, while every rebound an opponent gets gives them an opportunity, doesn't it?
Absolutely. I think you got to make sure you hold them to one shot, and when you rebound the basketball, we can actually get out and get some early quick strikes and some early offense from our guys. But that's something that we're gonna really dial in on is rebounding the basketball better, so we get more opportunity to get to the other side and score early in transition. But that's something you just got to keep working on. Knowing what you got to improve on going into league play has been good for us.
Again, staying with the rebounding, and it seems like just observing basketball as I have over the years, nothing is easy in the game of basketball, but it seems like rebounding is especially intense. You got to try to crash the boards, and it's not easy, and you got to have a lot of tenacity to try to get that rebound after a missed shot, don't you?
Absolutely. It's a physical thing, but I think it's just take effort. I think rebounding is a skill, but it takes a lot of effort. It takes you, willing to put, stick your nose in there, put your body on someone and go after the basketball. So that's something we're going to really, like I said, dial in on and try. We're going to have to correct that because, again, going into the league play, and understanding what our stats is and how we've been getting dominated on the glass, we got to clean that up.
Is that something that you try to emphasize in practice, the fact that when you got to try to get a rebound, it's going to get physical down low, and you can't be afraid of that?
Absolutely. You got to get your nose in there and go out there and get it, especially our guards. I think we got to do it collectively. Got to be a 5-person thing, not just a 1-person thing. So, like I said, we're working on that all week. We will get better with it.
One thing that I thought was encouraging during the Northwood game is the fact that the team did come back late, got pretty close there toward the end, made a nice little run. Just it almost seems like you ran out of time.
Yeah, we just didn't give up, man. Our guys competed. That was the thing we talked about after the game was we competed, played together. It's going to keep coming together. We got a new team. We're going to keep fighting, keep playing playing hard. It's just early in the year, and going into GLIAC play, we have to up our level of play.
One thing I've noticed, again, just covering basketball all these years, is that very oftentimes if a team, just a general basketball opinion here, if I may, a team can often fall behind by double digits, 14, 16, 18 points. And you see comebacks so often, but then I've seen it happen so many times, a team can run out of gas and the rally kind of stalls. Do you see that as something that teams have to contend with when you try to come back from behind in a double-digit deficit situation?
Absolutely. That's why we always talk about, for me, the most important thing is always conditioning. You got to be in shape. You got to keep a lead. Got to sometimes press and come back and get into games. But for us, we always emphasize that is about being in shape. You got to be one of the best conditioned teams, because even if you're down or you're up, you got to continue to push pace and play really hard. So you're absolutely right with getting back in the games. You got to really exert a lot of energy.
Well, and it just emphasizes the point that basketball in general is an exhausting sport, and trying to have to come back from a double-digit deficit, that just seems to take a lot out of a team, and that's where off-the-court conditioning plays a part, doesn't it?
Absolutely. That's why we put a major emphasis on it, and it's very important in our program is to be in shape. We're going to get up and down. We want to play fast, but also you got to know it's going to be games where you got to exert more energy to get back in the games, and you got to play a lot harder if the game is close. It's always going to come down to who's in better shape.
Well, you look ahead now, you have a couple of teams coming up this weekend as you open up the GLIAC season, and kind of reverting back a little bit before I continue on with the game specifically this weekend. You have the GLIAC season now coming up. We've talked about it a little bit last week. Never easy. The GLIAC is always so difficult, and it starts that way right off the bat, doesn't it, this weekend?
Absolutely, too. Michigan Tech, Northern Michigan, the two teams that's picked 1 and 2 in our league. Very good styles of play, well coached, got good players. So it'd be a good test for us coming into the Goodman, but we understand, GLIAC is from top to bottom is a really good league, and we really looking forward to playing in the GLIAC.
You have the two teams coming up this weekend, Michigan Tech and Northern Michigan. Do they have many similarities, or are they two completely different kinds of teams that you're going to have to try to prepare for?
They're similar. They play a great style of basketball. They run their offense through. They're two best players. Again, they're well coached. They play together, so it's a really good test for us. I really like the matchups from both teams, and love competing against them.
Sounds like an up-tempo game may be in store here this weekend.
Michigan Tech kind of slows it up. They probably giving up 64 points, scoring, scoring around the same. They play really good defense, run really good sets, and then Northern Michigan try to get up and down. So it is two different styles of play, but as far as how they play, how they're coached, is real similar.
You have a situation too as well where you talked about two different styles of play. Quick turnaround. You've got one game Thursday, one game Saturday. Again, two different styles of play. What's it like during the day in between, trying to kind of, I don't know if reverse and reset is the best way to put it, but you got to prepare for kind of a completely different game. Is that a little bit of a challenge with the quick turnaround 2 days between games?
Well, our first 4 games this year, we played back-to-back nights, and we played 2 different teams. So I think we've been prepared with our schedule to play, to really dial in on playing 2 games. We always talk about Thursday, Saturday, playing, 80 minutes. So we've been preparing, and it should be a really good test for us with that preparation this week.
I don't want to say you're going to get a break with the date between games, but as compared to playing back-to-back games, it does give you a little bit of time to reset, won't it?
Absolutely. Really get our guys' legs, back under them and watch some film. But I love playing, Thursday, Saturdays. It's nothing like it. It's great for our guys, great for the GLIAC. And we've been preparing for that all preseason.
It sounds like you feel that the quick turnaround is actually a net positive.
Absolutely. I think it's good for you to come back, rest Friday, do a walkthrough, have you prepare, after the Thursday game, and then come back that Saturday at 3:30 and get back active. I really like that schedule.
And once you get into the heart of the GLIAC schedule, which will come with the first of the year, literally on New Year's Day, you get into that rhythm, don't you? With Thursday, Saturday, Thursday, Saturday, Thursday, Saturday. I gotta believe that always helps a team.
Absolutely. Once you get in the rhythm, once you get in the habit of playing those, like I said, like those Thursday, Saturday games, it becomes a thing. It becomes what guys understand what they need to do. They get a routine. They get in the rhythm of understanding what it's like to play on that Thursday, Saturday.
One thing I noticed as well during the Northwood game, and this is starting to be, I think, a positive, a good pattern so far early in the season. Lots of players able to contribute. 4 players in double figures in last week's game. Jalen Wyndham, great debut so far. It sounds like the way things are going offensively, you should be in fairly decent shape to be able to put a lot of points on the board this year.
Yeah, it's not about scoring for us right now. Again, it's defense and rebounding. Once we clean that up, get a few guys back out there, I think we'll start playing better basketball. We don't do excuses in our program. We off to a slow start, But I just think our guys are continuing to grow and taking steps towards playing better basketball. And you want to play your best basketball once league play starts. So I think scoring the basketball has been good for us, but defensive rebounding is something we got to clean up in order for us to be competitive.
I know last week we were talking about the fact that you have pretty much an entirely new team with the exception of Griffin Yaklich. It sounds like you feel that the team is starting to come together a little bit, learn to play with each other, and they're starting to gel a little bit as this early season has gone on.
Absolutely. You got to think about it. We 4 games on the road. We got 2 home stands, and we go back on the road for 3. We really been road warriors and getting on the road and playing. So we gained an experience of playing on the road outside of the Goodman as well. So it should be very, rewarding for us in the next few weeks to be able to, get back and play in the Goodman. People get to see us, be around our fans, but also just keep gelling. It's early in the season, so we want to make sure we keep going, in a direction of going up and playing better basketball. We only can go up playing better basketball and coming more together. So I look forward to that. And that's what we're working on right now is our defense, our rebounding, and just being more together and everybody figuring out how can they impact winning on the basketball court.
In general terms, how much different is a road game from a home game?
It's big difference. I think playing at home, you're a little more comfortable. Familiar faces. You got got the crowd behind you. We do draw a decent crowd at Goodman. We really appreciate everybody who come out and support us. But on the road, it just feel like it's just you and the guys you got on that bench. So we enjoy it. We work it on. We understand if you want to be competitive in this league, you got to win on the road. So us going on the road right now, getting that experience is good for us as well.
How much more difficult is it to win on the road, just in general terms?
Oh, man, you got to go take it. It's a different mindset. It's a different mentality. So you got to go and win on someone else home court. It is difficult. It's called home court advantage for a reason. So you got to go with a different mentality and prepare in a different way. But winning is hard whether you're at home or on the road. So we understand that. And once we starting to see it now and we experiencing that, experience is always the best teacher.
Talking about home court advantage, and I can think of no better place to emphasize that than the Goodman Center. It's compact, and very often the crowds are very sizable, almost capacity. That gives your team an advantage and makes it difficult on the opposing team because it's a tough environment, or can be a tough environment to play in.
Absolutely. We love the Goodman, man. We pack it. It's very intimate, very small. We got a great band. We got a great cheer and dance team who does a great job. Our game op is always on point. It's a really good environment, really good game experience, and people do come out and support us, and it means a lot to us, especially as being Chicago and what time we play and so many things you get to do in the city. So we do get a good home court, and I hope our guys use that, get the energy from it, and play better basketball.
All right, Coach, well, you have 2 home games coming up this weekend to start the GLIAC season. Hopefully you'll be able to pick up a couple of wins, and we'll be able to talk about it next week. But best of luck as you go into the GLIAC season here this weekend at the Goodman Center.
Man, thank you so much. I really appreciate you having me. Go Lakers.